difficulties here. We had a bit of a problem with connecting up with sound. But anyway, Monica Yatooma is still with us, and um, and we were talking about that process and so on and so forth. And she was explaining there was different ways of doing audit, which is not expensive. And so I'd like to just continue there. I mean, you did mention that it can be done where it's not expensive, and I made the comment kind of gripingly that I'm scared of officials where by if it involves something we need and want, the citizens of Michigan, country too for that matter, federal too, that all these things are so expensive, but they have no problem spending endless amount of money on all kinds of nonsense. But so I think you mean the audit process could be done differently in sections or partials, or how did you mention that? I'm sorry, I got confused after we lost our sound.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I was just saying that doing an audit of all the machines it's really not the only way to audit, right? So
Mhm.
we could implement a targeted, phased audit process that focuses on the highest risk areas first. So that could include independent forensic reviews of election management systems, chain of custody procedures, tabulation processes, and a
Mhm.
statistically significant sample of voting equipment across the counties. So, if we do this type of structured review, then we can provide meaningful oversight, but at a fraction of the cost that a blanket statewide audit would require. And look, if a broader audit were ever warranted, I'd work directly with the legislature to determine the most cost effective way to conduct it. But there are several steps we can take to significantly improve oversight
Mhm.
without requiring that level of spending. We just need a Secretary of State that understands that and sees that vision and can implement it, working with state legislature, of course.
Mhm. So, so what about, what if we fail to get rid of ballots? I mean mail-in ballots as they exist today. I'm not talking about the military and things that you discussed earlier. I'm talking about this flood, because in Macomb County, there was some mail-in ballots that came in. So is there a way to audit that, do you think? If
Well,
necessary, if we can't get rid of
Well, sure. That just goes back to chain of custody. And that's why I said we have to strengthen that chain of custody because mail in ballots, they start from the voter and then they go to the election worker, whoever's counting them. And then they'll go to, through the post office, the postal board. Then they'll go to whoever's counting them, right? The canvassing board. But that process from every handoff, it should be tracked. It should be time stamped. It should be signed. We should know who's touching them and when they're touching them, so that if we identify an issue with any of these ballots for any reason, we know exactly where to go in that chain of that break in that chain of custody, and then we investigate it. If we don't strengthen the chain of custody on these absentee ballots, then they're going to continue to be a primary mechanism for fraud. But can we put safeguards in place? Yeah, absolutely, we can.
that's good. Because I believe you would know this better than I, but I think that in Wayne County, it's kind of a well-known practice where if certain don't match in the boxes, that they're just set aside and not investigated at all. You would think the investigation right there. Is that true that if the numbers don't match on a box of but the tape and the contents, that they don't, that they just set it aside?
Yeah, the law says you can't recount. I believe unless I want to say, uh, don't quote me. I was going to say statistically significant, but I take that back. It just says you can't do a recount. And the other thing too in Detroit that a lot of people don't realize, it's legal for them to send runners out to collect ballots, which essentially another word for that is ballot harvesting, which is illegal across the state. But they allow it in Detroit. It's a carve out in the law. And the reason for that carve out is they said, well, residents of Detroit have a hard time, they can't afford vehicles, they have a hard time finding transportation. And so the clerk will send out these runners to collect ballots and bring them back.
Now, if that's a carve out in the law, there's not a great deal you can do about that other than advocate or to change the law, right?
Yes, exactly.
Interesting. But anyway, we kept you so long. I really appreciate you
Mhm.
being here, and I'm sorry about the sound problem we. But
That's
I wish
okay.
you all.
Technical difficulties, it happens.
I wish you all the best next week, and I hope to see you there. I will. You go
Yes.
for it and keep working. Okay.
Thanks, Mark. It was great to be on with you again. I hope you have a great rest of the week and God bless you. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. Bye.
So anyway, now I'd like to speak about a little bit about this. Mr. Ferlini put out we need to have new blood in these things. The Macomb County Clerk from 2020 was never concerned about the elections in the sense that he did not think that there was anything really wrong. I know that we, county party at the time, and me, especially my vice chair, really encouraged him to look into the election in 2020. He was newly elected clerk, hard to get him elected, and he just didn't have the heart for it. Now, when he was finally convinced to do it, my vice chair at the time influenced to get Mr. Ben Cotton involved to look at this audit. But Mr. Ferlini, here, I get this, Rick, I lost or something, I got my papers screwed up. But anyway, Mr. Ferlini sent out an email on January 27th. It was a regular campaign email. And he sent out this email. He sent things in like he did as county clerk in 2020. That's when he was elected. I was very motivated to review this election and see how well being motivated came from the county party, pushing and pushing to into this thing. And finally, he decided to do a quote forensic unquote audit in Macomb County. Mr. Ben Cotton was invited to be there, thankfully, due to the efforts of the vice chair at the time. But anyway, I have here on my letter or website, we'll do that. I have the affidavit of Mr. Cotton, January 25th, 2022. He had an affidavit where he page document where it was not really an audit at all. Now, Mr. Cotton, so very briefly, he 25 years of forensics and other digital system analysis. His resume is a full first page. And then he goes on to talk about the failings in this particular forensic audit. And we're going to get that out in our newsletter this week. You go to michiganmatters.org and sign up for the newsletter. It comes out every Friday. And I hope you will like and share this, because it's important, ladies and gentlemen. If the person doesn't have the heart, does not even see the problem in our elections. For instance, we know that this Secretary of State has violated law, Michigan law. The law says you keep everything for 24 months. She told all the clerks to go ahead and think in, I believe, 7 days. Now, as clerk of one of the largest counties of Michigan, the third largest, I believe, Macomb, and with a lot of leeway and everything else, why can't you have the courage to stand up and say, this is wrong, I'm advising clerks in Macomb County to do that, it violates the law. But no, not a word is said. He's on her board and all this sort of thing. No criticisms whatsoever that I'm aware of. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't see everything. I've never seen a public criticism of this Secretary of State by the Macomb County clerk when she's bringing laws influencing people to do things. So anyway, the machines are proven to be bad. Even Maduro now is throwing Michigan under the bus. It's my hope, since it knows how corrupt Michigan is, it's my hope that when the federal government that they will in Michigan and inspect our elections and what's been going on in Michigan, because Michigan is very corrupt. So now, leaving the Secretary of State issue, I want to talk about something that's nasty as can get. The AG race. Now, the AG race, we have Kevin Kieski versus Mr. Doug Lloyd. Mr. Lloyd is a Western Michigan prosecutor, did a few times, says he's liable because of all that. Now, we need to process something. Now, Mr. Lloyd sat in his hands when Mr. John Gittert was molesting young girls in the U.S. gymnastics for years. You know, America is with this pedophilia and all this kind of on anything about it. He didn't do any charges, didn't do anything. And now that's something real, okay? But now, establishment, and I'm surprised at some of the people out there. I'm really surprised at some of the names of the people out there who are totally slandering Kevin Kieski. I mean, slander at the highest level. He's guilty of nothing, has been convicted of nothing. What happened to innocent until proven guilty? They're acting like Democrats' sake. It's incredible. However, the establishment is rattled. They do not want an honest attorney general, and they want an honest secretary of state. Now, in so saying that, I'm not saying that that secretary of state candidate or Mr. Lloyd is, but their establishment. They're part of the bubble. They've been elected a few times. All their buddies are elected, all that sort of thing. Do you think that the uniparty system in the state of Michigan? I mean, our state is in terrible condition. We have, for 30 years, I've been watching it circle the drain. And we have Democrats in power doing anything they want, hardly obstructed it. And then the Republicans take power and nothing happens. We see this in Lansing, we see it in Washington. We see it right now with this thing. It's incredible. 70% of Democrats, for goodness sake, want that thing passed. And 80-some% of Republicans, yet ours in Washington, D.C., through Senate procedures and rules and bullcrap, while our country are dying, they're tripping over each other trying to avoid gas. And yet it must be passed. The people of America clearly want it passed. And when I say people of America, I mean everybody. Democrats, Republican, Independents, they want this passed. Yet these people refuse to represent the people of the United States. Now this goes on in Michigan, everywhere. Nothing but garbage getting passed. We're going to be talking about that in the near future too. These property bills that they have, the zoning bills that they have in Lansing, which they have no business in passing whatsoever, but they're going to cram them in our throats if we can. And Republicans are leading it. What is wrong with our party in Michigan? So, ladies and gentlemen, I encourage you at this convention coming up to stop listening to slander in these people that are slanderous beyond imagine and really think about the future of our kids. We can win this race, and we're going to win this race. This race is going to be a Republican blowout because by the time Trump is going to be so far ahead, it's unbelievable. And he will be helping these candidates through too. But the people of Michigan are believing slander all the time. What is it about the establishment that all they talk about is unity? But boy, if you get a grassroots candidate that gets some traction, they completely freak out. So it's our job as precinct delegates to look at the party platform, realize Republicans be different than Democrats, and get somebody that's going to really do something to improve the state of Michigan. And nothing more at this juncture than electing a good attorney general and secretary of state. So I'm sick of slander. I'm going to call it out. There's a secretary of state candidate that's been slandered. I'm sorry, you don't vote on slander or vote for someone because someone else has been slandered. And this idea of electability, I'll explain that. When a person tells you that they're electable, what they're really telling you is that we're the establishment guys, and if you don't pick us establishment people are going to back away. That's what they do. I've been listening. This is a year of this nonsense. Same crap, different names. It's time. And I really hope and pray that you will really consider voting for Kevin Kieski, who is straw poll. He's been accused of not going to different the forums, debate, whatever. You can't think, can you? Is his opposite all of them? I don't. Maybe yes. I don't know. But every stupid excuse, couldn't go to this one over here, so therefore you don't go nowhere. Afraid to talk to the other. Give me a break. Start using your heads, ladies and gentlemen. Our kids' future Michigan depend upon it. We need a Secretary of State that recognized that there's something wrong with our elections, and go in there with the idea I'm fixing it, and not the idea that all of a sudden that you're elected, all the guys around you, and oh yeah, I promise this and that, but the donors want this, the donors want that. No, we need somebody in the courage to make them. I believe and Kevin has already proven. Interesting now that I saw today, I saw someone, a lawyer from one of the electors or something. All the electors actually had their own lawyers, I believe. But anyway, every elector I talked to really loved Kevin Kieski. And all of a sudden, we have somebody that, he didn't do anything. I know people supporting him because they watched the cases and they absolutely loved his performance, what he did. I mean, it's just incredible. The slander, the lies, the garbage. It's sickening. And I hope and pray that these delegates go to this convention, realize that, and think about it, analyze it, and make the proper choice. I thank you all for being with us. Now, go to MichiganMatters.org newsletter, like and share this. Okay, it's important it gets out, and we will see you next time. Not have sound glitch and everything happen, but it happened. But we got to fix. And anyway, thank you for everything you do. Pray for our country. Pray for our president. And we'll see you next time.